Okay, so picture this. You're exploring an ancient shipwreck, and you find this crazy machine that looks like it's from the future. It's so advanced, you wouldn't believe it was made over 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, that's the Antikythera Mechanism. And today, we're going deep, really deep, into this ancient astronomical calculator. I mean, this thing predicted eclipses,
That's incredible.
tracked the planets. It even knew about the Olympiad cycle, all with bronze years.
It really does challenge how we think about ancient technology.
I know, it's mind-blowing. So
Yeah.
let's go back in time to 1900. We've got a group of sponge divers. They're caught in a storm off the coast of Antikythera, this tiny Greek island, and they find this Roman shipwreck, right?
Yeah.
Now, among the usual stuff, amphorae and statues,
Yeah.
they pull up this corroded lump of bronze.
Fascinating how something that important just sitting in a museum for years.
Yeah, I know, right? It took a while for anyone to realize it was anything special. It wasn't until 1902 that an archaeologist, Valerio Space, actually took a closer look. And bam! He sees gear teeth hidden under all that corrosion. Suddenly, this wasn't just some random artifact. It was like finding a computer in King Tut's tomb.
It was a revelation.
Yeah.
The moment they realized it wasn't just an object, but a device with at least 30, maybe more. Bronze gears, all interlocking. I mean, that kind of design points to some serious understanding of mechanics and astronomy, way beyond what anyone thought possible back then.
It's crazy, right? Like, we're talking a device the size of a shoebox, housed in wood, with all these tiny gears, some like a centimeter wide, all working together.
It really speaks to the ingenuity and skill
Yeah,
of the ancient Greeks.
it does. Okay, so we've got this ancient Greek machine with dozens of gears, but what did it actually do?
Well, it's a lot more than just a fancy clock. Think of it as like an astronomical calculator. You had a crank on the side, you turn it, and the whole system springs to life. On the front, there was this dial with all these rings. It tracked the sun and the moon against the zodiac. There was even a little ball that showed you the phases of the moon.
Wow, that's like one of those models of the solar system.
Similar concept, but the Antikythera mechanism was way more sophisticated. It didn't just show you where things were. It actually calculated their movements based on all these crazy astronomical cycles.
And I remember reading that the back dials were even more mind-blowing. Like, didn't they track eclipses?
They did. They tracked the Saros cycle, which is what predicts solar and lunar eclipses. And they were amazingly accurate.
Wow, so in ancient times, you could literally know when an eclipse was coming. I mean, eclipses were a big deal back then. Omens, signs of good or bad fortune to predict them. You'd be like a wizard.
Basically, yeah.
What else could it do?
Well, it incorporated the Metonic cycle, which is this 19-year cycle that keeps the solar and lunar calendars aligned. And there's even evidence it tracked the 4-year Olympiad cycle, those ancient Greek games.
So this wasn't just for, like, astronomy nerds, right? It was connected to their whole culture. It gives us a totally different view of how they saw the cosmos and how it influenced them. But the big question is, who built this thing?
That is the million-dollar question. Sadly, there's no name tag on it, but we can look at the history and what we know about the device to make some educated guesses.
So who are the top contenders?
Well, one theory links it to Archimedes, famous inventor, brilliant mind, and the mechanism's complexity. Definitely fits with his genius. There's even a Roman writer, Cicero, who described a device Archimedes built that sounds a lot like the Antikythera mechanism.
But Archimedes died before the mechanism was made, right?
That is the tricky part. He died in 212 BCE, and most people think the mechanism was created somewhere between 150 and 100 BCE. But it could be based on his designs, maybe built by one of his students.
Okay, so maybe a student carrying the torch. What about other possibilities?
Well, there's Hipparchus. He was an astronomer on the island of Rhodes around 190 to 120 BCE. His work, especially on lunar orbits and eclipse cycles, like the Saros cycle, matches the mechanism really well.
Yeah, it seems like a good fit. Anyone else?
There's also Posidonius, another scholar from Rhodes. He lived from about 135 to 51 BCE. Now, he was polymath. Astronomy, geography, math, philosophy. We don't have direct proof he was involved, but he had the expertise. And he lived in a place known for astronomy. So he's a contender.
So we've got Archimedes, Hipparchus, Posidonius, all brilliant minds with possible ties to the Antikythera mechanism. It's like a historical whodunit. But instead of a crime, we're trying to solve the mystery of creation. And to make it even more interesting, this thing is still revealing its secrets. Researchers are using all this high-tech stuff like 3D X-rays and surface imaging to study it.
Absolutely. That's the Antikythera Mechanism Research Project. They're a team of international experts. using cutting-edge technology to see through the corrosion. They could virtually unfold the pieces and decipher even the tiniest writing.
It's like CSI for ancient artifacts. What have they found?
They've managed to read about 90% of the inscriptions, including names of planets and what looks like a user manual.
Wow. A user manual.
It describes how to use it and what the readings mean. They've also figured out the gears more accurately, giving us a better understanding of the complex calculations it could do.
Amazing that we're still learning new things about this 2,000-year-old machine. But can they actually prove it worked the way they think it did?
Well, researchers have actually built working replicas, using techniques the ancient Greeks would have known.
So bronze gears, wooden frames, like a historical reenactment, but for an astronomical computer.
Right, and these replicas aren't just cool to look at. They help us understand how it worked and refine our theories about how it was built and what it could do.
It's like a feedback loop between the past and the present. The ancient device inspires modern research, and the research helps us understand the ancient device even better.
It shows that there's still so much we don't know about the past. Even the most ancient civilizations could do amazing things.
It makes you wonder what other incredible inventions might be out there, lost to time, buried somewhere, waiting to be discovered. What if there was a whole library of Antikythera level tech just waiting to be unearthed? I think we need a minute to process all this before we dive deeper into the mysteries of the Antikythera mechanism. You know, when you think about it, it's wild that this device was created during the Hellenistic period. We know it was in a Roman shipwreck, but the mechanism itself, that's pure Greek genius. What was going on back then?
Well, they think it was made sometime between 150 and 100 BCE, right in the middle of the Hellenistic period, which was this incredible time of cultural exchange and intellectual growth.
Alexander the Great. I mean, he created this huge empire from Greece all the way to India, and then his generals, they split it up into kingdoms. Weren't those kingdoms like centers of learning?
Exactly. They were competing for power, sure, but they also became these hives of knowledge, like Alexandria in Egypt, with its famous library. But there were others too, like Rhodes, where Hipparchus was based, one of the possible Antikythera creators.
So Greek culture and ideas were spreading everywhere. It sounds like a time when science and tech just exploded, along with philosophy and art and all that.
Oh, absolutely. The Hellenistic period saw so many advancements: astronomy, mathematics, medicine, engineering. Think of Euclid, with geometry, or Archimedes and his inventions.
I guess that mixing of cultures and ideas really sparked something special.
Yeah, like a fertile ground for innovation. And the Antikythera mechanism, it reflects all that energy, the astronomy, the math, the engineering, all blended together. It's like a snapshot of that whole era.
But here's the thing. After all that amazing innovation, it seems like the knowledge to build things like the Antikythera mechanism just vanished. Like we don't see anything that complex for centuries.
It's true. It's a real head-scratcher. Historians and scientists have come up with a few theories. Some are pretty straightforward. Others, well, they're kind of sad, really.
I'm all ears. Why did the world seemingly forget how to build such advanced things?
One idea is just shifting priorities, The Roman Empire, they came to power during the late Hellenistic period, and they were all about practical stuff. Roads, aqueducts, forts, not so much theoretical science.
So less stargazing, more building stuff?
Yeah, they were incredible engineers, the Romans.
Yeah.
But they needed to build and run this massive empire. So maybe they saw these complex astronomical devices as less important.
It makes sense, but still, it's kind of a bummer to think about all that knowledge fading away. Any other theories?
Well, you can't discount major events.
Yeah.
Wars, conquests, natural disasters, those can wipe out knowledge pretty effectively.
Like the burning of the Library of Alexandria. That must have been devastating.
It was a huge loss. I mean, the Library of Alexandria was one of the biggest, most complete collections of knowledge in the ancient world.
Yeah.
And it went up in flames in 48 BCE. All those scrolls, all those texts, gone. And who knows, some might have held information about the Antikythera mechanism or even more advanced stuff.
All that knowledge, poof, just gone like that. It's heartbreaking. Even if some knowledge survived, the chaos from those events must have disrupted the schools, the traditions that pass down these specialized skills, right?
Absolutely. It's like breaking a chain of knowledge, and once it's broken, it's hard to put it back together. And there's another possibility, though it's a bit unsettling: intentional suppression of knowledge.
Wait, are you saying someone deliberately hid this kind of knowledge?
I know it sounds crazy, but it's happened before.
Yeah.
Throughout history, people in power have tried to control knowledge for political reasons, religious reasons.
I see what you mean. Imagine a ruler or a high priest, and they see this device, this Antikythera mechanism,
Hmm.
that can predict eclipses, understand the heavens. It might challenge their authority. So they try to bury that knowledge to stay in control.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A chilling thought, right?
Mm.
I don't have any proof that happened with the Antikythera mechanism, but it's something to think about.
Mhm.
Maybe some knowledge was lost on purpose throughout history.
So we've got a few possible explanations. Changes in what people valued, the destruction from historical events, and maybe even intentional suppression. It shows that progress isn't always a straight line forward. It makes you appreciate the Antikythera mechanism even more. It survived all of that, and now it gives us a peek into this lost world of incredible knowledge and innovation.
It's powerful, Even with setbacks, human curiosity, that desire to understand the universe, it finds a way. It endures.
It really makes you wonder, how different would our world be today if that knowledge hadn't been lost, if we'd built on the Antikythera mechanism?
It's a question that's fascinated people for a long time. It's impossible to know for sure, but it's fun to imagine, isn't it?
Okay, so let's imagine. What if that knowledge had survived? What could the world look like?
Well, picture a world where complex machines kept developing uninterrupted from the Hellenistic period on.
No dark ages for technology, like clocks and gears and all that, centuries earlier.
Exactly. And think about the ripple effects. Science, navigation, exploration, everything would be different.
Imagine sailors with accurate astronomical instruments. They could navigate better, explore farther, discover new lands sooner.
And astronomy, wow, they kept building those complex devices. We might be so much further along in understanding the universe. Centuries ahead, maybe.
It's amazing to think about all the possibilities, all the paths not taken. But the Antikythera mechanism, even though its knowledge was lost for a while, its rediscovery has really sparked something new.
It has. New research, new engineering,
Yeah.
pushing the limits of what we can do.
It's like a lesson from the past, a reminder to keep learning, and to make sure we don't lose this knowledge again. The Antikythera mechanism, it's not just a relic. It's a message for the future.
A message of ingenuity and resilience and the power of human curiosity, never giving up.
Well, this has been an amazing journey so far. The history, the mystery of who made it, and what it means that its knowledge was lost. But now I want to get into the nuts and bolts. How did this thing actually work? How did they cram so much astronomical genius into something the size of a shoebox? It really is amazing to think what the world could be like if they hadn't lost that knowledge. But for now, let's get back to this incredible device. We've talked about the history, the mystery of who made it, and the fact that its knowledge was lost for so long. But how did this thing actually work? How did they pack all that astronomical knowledge into a contraption the size of a shoebox?
Well, the Antikythera mechanism is really a testament to human ingenuity. It's like a perfect example of solving complex problems in a beautifully simple way. And at the heart of it all, a system of interlocking bronze gears, each one meticulously crafted to represent specific astronomical cycles.
Okay, so gears, like the building blocks of this ancient computer, but how do gears track the movements of planets and stars? I mean, they didn't have microchips and algorithms back then.
It all comes down to ratios. The ancient Greeks, they figured out that the sun, the moon, the planets, they all move in these predictable patterns, these cycles. And they learned how to represent those cycles mechanically using gears with a very precise number of teeth.
So the number of teeth on a gear, it actually matters.
Oh, absolutely. The ratio between the teeth on two connected gears,
Yeah.
that determines how they move in relation to each other. Like imagine a gear with 20 teeth connected to another gear with 10 teeth. That smaller gear, it's going to spin twice for every one rotation of the bigger gear.
Okay, so by choosing the right number of teeth for each gear, they could create a system that mirrored the cycles and ratios they saw in the sky.
Exactly. And the Antikythera mechanism, it's a masterpiece of perfectly calibrated gear ratios. For example, there's this big gear with 223 teeth, and it's crucial for predicting eclipses.
223 teeth. Why is that number so important?
Well, it turns out that 223 lunar months are almost exactly equal to 18 years, 11 days, and 8 hours. And that, my friend, is the Saros cycle. It's like the key to predicting eclipses.
I see. So they basically programmed the Saros cycle into the mechanism using this gear. That's pretty clever.
And you see it on the back dial, the one that tracks eclipses. It's got this spiral track with 223 slots, all perfectly synced with that 223-tooth gear. You turn the crank, you're moving through the Saros cycle. And when the pointer hits one of those slots, boom, eclipse.
Like an ancient eclipse predictor. And all thanks to those precisely calculated gear ratios?
And that's just one example. The whole Antikythera Mechanism, it's full of them. Gears for the metonic cycle, which keeps solar and lunar calendars in sync, and gears for the cycles of the planets as they move through the zodiac.
Remember how we talked about retrograde motion? That's when planets look like they're going backwards in the sky.
Yeah, it's an optical illusion because, well, we're viewing them from Earth, which is also moving. But the ancient Greece, they thought the Earth was the center of everything, so they came up with this clever explanation. Epicycles.
Back to cycles.
Think of it like this. They believed that planets moved in these little circles called epicycles. And the center of those epicycles, well, that moved along a bigger circle called a deferent. And that combination of movements, that's what made it look like planets were going backwards from our perspective.
And they used gears to represent those epicycles in the Antikythera mechanism.
Exactly. They added smaller gears that rotated around bigger gears, mimicking that complex motion. It's another example of how they turned these abstract astronomical ideas into something real, something mechanical.
It really shows you what they could do, even without modern tools.
And it wasn't just about accuracy. The Antikythera Mechanism, it was designed to display all this information in a way that people could understand.
Yeah, those dials on the front and back, they weren't just random gears, were they?
Not at all. The front dial, with all its rings, it was like a visual map of the sky, showing the zodiac and the Egyptian calendar. And the pointers, connected to the gears, they showed the positions of the sun, the moon, and the planets against that background.
So you could literally watch the celestial bodies move as you turned the crank.
That's right. And the back dials, with their spiral tracks, they gave you a different way to see time and those astronomical cycles. We talked about the Saros dial for eclipses, but there's also the Metonic dial that tracked the 19-year cycle that kept lunar and solar calendars aligned.
It's like they were trying to make sense of the cosmos, to build a dashboard for understanding the heavens.
That's a great way to put it. And to make it even easier, they inscribed thousands of tiny Greek letters onto it.
Those inscriptions. Remember how researchers are using 3D imaging to read them? What kind of things did they write?
Well, they're like labels, instructions, explanations, all in one. They label the planets, they mark the different dials and cycles. They even included directions on how to use it and interpret what you saw.
It's like they built in a user manual.
Amazing.
It seems like the creators of the Antikythera mechanism, they weren't just brilliant scientists and engineers, they were also great teachers, wanting to share their knowledge with the world.
It's as if they're reaching across time, inviting us to explore the universe with them.
That's the beauty of it, I guess. It's not just a relic. It's a conversation across millennia, a testament to our curiosity, our need to understand our place in the universe.
It's a reminder that there are always more mysteries to uncover, and that our thirst for knowledge should never be quenched.
Well, what a journey this has been. We started with a lump of corroded bronze pulled from a shipwreck, and we ended up with a glimpse into the incredible minds of ancient Greek scientists and engineers. The Antikythera Mechanism. It's a truly remarkable device, one that still inspires and amazes us today. So until next time, keep looking up and keep wondering.